All right, everybody, welcome back to Mohawk Motors. My name is Jason, and it's actually just a few hours after where the last video left off. I had the driver's side welded in, ready for filler. And I've been down here diligently cutting and grinding and fitting and grinding and fitting and grinding and fitting and prepping, and I've got the passenger side rocker ready to get tacked in to check the fit up. I've got it fitting up really well, but just like I did on the driver's side, I'm gonna tack it in place and on the top and hold it on the bottom with a couple vice grips, and then see how the door fits. I want to make sure I've got a good gap along the bottom of the door. So I figured I could set the stand up here and you guys can watch me struggle with this a little bit. Now you guys can see. And I went through, drilled all my holes. Well, I have a rosette weld up along the flange and along the bottom where it meets the inner rocker. And I gotta get this thing right up in here. And I'm actually, in hindsight and for future reference to myself, do the passenger side first, because that's the side where maybe it's not quite as good and you remember all the tricks and how to fit it up well and make it look good, and then that way your driver's side will look a little bit better. I think by the time it's all done, the driver's side is going to be just fine. I've definitely gotten this side to this point faster, and I think I've got it fitting up quite a bit better than the other side. Back here. Not right. Not right at all. There we go. That's what we wanted. Right there. So we'll get a vice grip there. We'll get a vice grip here. We'll get a vice grip here. We'll get a vice grip on the bottom. On the bottom. Do 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 do. One up here. All right, there we go. All right, now, assuming my fit up looks good with the bottom of the door gap, I shouldn't have to take this thing off again. I'm gonna grab the welder. Give it the power. All right, let's give her a little tack. Wow, that's a lot of wire. Cross your fingers that this goes as well as it did over on the passenger side, or excuse me, on the driver's side. Because the driver's side It looked great first try. And I think my fit up on this side went better. So, theoretically, this fit should be just as good, and I should be able to set the door on, make sure I'm happy, pull the door off, and start welding. It's like 11:15, so I want to get myself, I really just want to get a few tacks on it to make sure it's not going to move, and then I'm going to go call it a night, because it's late and I'm tired. Door. There we go. Tuck my door harness in so I don't pinch it and cut a wire. Alright, we're all the way down. Nothing on the door. That's just the door check. Okay. Well, I think I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, nice and even. Yeah, looks nice and even front to back. About the right amount of space. I am pretty happy with that. Let's get a few welds in this thing so it's not going to move, and then go to bed. Well, go get a shower, then go to bed. Down out of sight. Ah, perfection. Look at that. Like I almost know what I'm doing. I watched a YouTube video, guys. That's the wrong helmet. That look good, right? There we go. That right there. Hammer. Hammer here. Do I have to put them in there? I got a phone fire. That stuff, man. You get out as much as you can and it still tries to burn on you. There we go. Fire blanket for the win. That there. While I throw another. She's still burning it. Still. Now it's out. That, my friends, is why you don't weld and then leave the workshop. All right, where was it? right. Gotta get back over here. Now that tacked up. A little bit of a gap before us up here. There we go, that'll hold that. All right. Now, I'll just hang out for 15 or 20 minutes, make sure I don't have any more fires, and then go up, get a shower, get to bed.
The next day.
Well, boys and girls, it's late, and I think I'm calling it for the night. It's just after 11:30, so I've been down here since about 8 o'clock getting things done. I got the doors on the truck for one last fit up, and here's where we are. So driver's side, as you already know, was fitting and looking pretty darn good. And I'm pretty happy with it. I like that I've got a pretty darn even door gap the whole way down. I'm happy with how my door fits along the sill. So I'm happy with that. Now, learning, I'm not perfect. I did not think to make sure that the curved profile of the cab corner matched the profile of the door. As you can see, it's not quite perfect, but it's good enough for me. And then on the passenger side over here, that's what I've been working on all evening. I've got my passenger side rocker panel all welded in. I've got my cab corner all welded in. And same thing got me on this side. The profile of that new cab corner isn't quite perfect to the door. But again, it's good enough for me. And I can see my door gap. This corner, this cab corner, it wasn't quite right. I had to do a lot of manipulating and pushing to get it to fit this well. And you can see my door gap isn't quite right here. But I think once I get a little filler on there, I can taper that and make it'll be good enough for me. I won't be upset about it. It fits well on the back and on the bottom. So at this point, my welding, my actual getting it on there is done. I'm tired. I'm gonna go up, get a shower, and get to bed. And tomorrow, I'll get started on the filler. I'll get it, it's not perfectly flat where my welds are, so I'll get filler over the welds. First, I'll get everything wiped off. I'm pretty sure I have, I know I have either acetone or lacquer thinner. I think I might actually have both. So I'll get everything wiped off really well, get all the dust off, get it cleaned up. I'll probably sweep up the floor before I do my cleaning, just so I know that it's good, it's right, I'm happy. And then we'll get the first coat of filler on it and start getting this thing squared away. I didn't think far enough ahead. I have to go get paint. I'm gonna get color match paint mixed up for it. We'll have to get that Monday. It's Friday night now, tomorrow's Saturday. So I have all day tomorrow to get my filler on, Try to get my filler as nice, all smooth, sanded, done, and nice as possible. I'm expecting my seam sealer to get here tomorrow as well. So once I'm done with the filler, I can do the seam sealer along my, continue down where my cab corner mates up to the body and inside right in here. So I'll get those filled with seam sealer to make sure I don't have water penetration. And yeah, it's been a night. It's that side, I thought I had a really good fit up, but that side, that cab corner fought me. But it's on there now, and I'm happy with how it is. I'll be able to fill it and sand it and get it looking good. So I'm going to bed. I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, boys and girls. So next day, mixing up a little filler here. I'm doing generally small areas with this. So I'm only mixing up like maybe a golf ball, a little less than a golf ball worth at a time. And for me, just because this is what I have experience with versus what I don't, this is a lot like spackling drywall. So one of the important things from spackling drywall is to remember everything you put on, 90% of it you're going to sand back off. So the more efficient and deliberate you can be with your application, the less time you spend sanding. Which I hate sanding, so I am not trying to plaster this stuff on. I'm just trying to make sure that I get it pushed into any low spots that I have. I'm trying to blend in everywhere that I've done welding. Trying to make sure that all the places where I've been, I'll be able to sand it out, and ideally, you'll never be able to tell that I was there. And worst case, sand it off and try again, right? All right, a little bit later, first coat of filler is dried and sanded. I'm gonna have to do one more little touch up, I think. I've got a little low spot here. I think I can build this up just a tiny bit more to get my door gap better. Got a little low spot right here. I think I got a little low spot up here in the front, also right in there. On the driver's side, actually, I think is ready to go. Yeah, I think I got all my lows over here. They're all good to go. So, I'll do my one more little bit of filler. Hopefully by the time I'm done that, some of the other parts I'm expecting today will have gotten here so I can work on those. Because I'm not going to be able to do anything else on this until Monday when I can go get paint. Well, it's a little while later. Did my second coat of filler. Got everything sanded. I did 80 grit, then 200 grit, then 400. And I think I may need to go to 600 depending on what the paint calls for. I can't remember what it wanted last time I did this, but I gave it one wipe down with acetone. I'll probably give it one more wipe down with acetone right before I'm ready to start spraying primer. I don't have the primer right now either. But overall, I'm really happy with how this turned out. I think it's gonna look really good. I think unless you get under the truck, you're not gonna be able to tell. And I also went on a little side quest. My youngest son loves this tractor, and it's been broken for a while. So I finally got around to diagnosing it, and the little controller is bad. So I just hot wired it. Now it runs on a 20 volt DeWalt battery with a relay. So it's just a simple go, not go. So that'll probably make him super happy. It gave me something to do while I was waiting on filler to dry out. So that's it. I'm out of time for now. And my other parts haven't shown up yet. Maybe they'll be here this afternoon. And I can come back down this evening and do a little bit more. So if that happens, I'll see you later. If not, I'll see you tomorrow, I guess. My other parts also came, which is a C-notch kit. When this truck has the bed on it, the bump stop pads just touch the bump stops on both sides. And while not a terrible problem, I think the truck will ride a bit more comfortably if it has a little bit more up travel in the rear suspension before it fully compresses those bump stops. So I got a C-notch kit for it. And it's not a bad, it looks like a pretty good quality thing. I really like that not only does it have a flange to bolt to the bottom of the frame, it obviously bolts to the side of the frame, but it also has a flange on the top to add some additional rigidity, which I really like. The only downside on this kit, my only gripe with it is there are welds on the inside. Where this C-notch, this part here is going to go flat against the outside of the frame. And you can see they've welded. And I appreciate that they welded both sides of the notch. But man, these are some chonky, fluffy welds. And I want to keep my cut as minimal as possible. So I'm going to go through with the die grinder and see if I can't knock these welds down quite a bit to reduce their profile. So I don't have to cut an extra, 3/8 of an inch all the way around to make room for those welds, so the plate can actually bolt flat against the frame. So I guess it's time to get the die grinder out. All right, folks, it's been a little while. I've got my frame brackets here. I got the welds ground down. The good news is, even though they weren't the most beautiful welds, it looks like they got good penetration on them. So those are at a place that I'm much happier with how they're gonna fit up against the frame. You can see I sprayed a little paint on there. Now, before I sprayed the paint, I traced and made a template. Now they are mirror images of each other from side to side. So you can see I've made myself a cardboard template. And this shows the actual plate of the C-notch. Then I went through, I found center of my axle at ride height. I transferred that line using a plumb bob up to center line of the axle on the frame at ride height. And I found the center line of the C-notch. So I can have all my centers. So when this thing is sitting at ride height, the axle will be centered directly into the notch. So if I do hit a bump that causes it to the axle to travel upward, it'll go into the center of the notch, right? And I also, on this side, that thing is made out of 1/8 inch plate, or excuse me, 1/4 inch plate. So I marked myself a 1/4 inch, and this top edge needs to line up with the bottom of my frame. And this section is nice and straight. This section is at an angle, so it's not great for lining up. But this section works well. So I get my template matched up on my center line. I get my bottom flush with the bottom of the frame. Now I can trace with my Sharpie, and that'll give me my cut lines for this C-notch. And I mean, that's essentially it. So I'll trace this side, I'll trace the other side, I'll cut it out, and I'm gonna try to be tight. I'm gonna follow the inside of my lines. That way, if I need to make a little bit more space, I can. I'd rather take more off than have to try to put it back with the welder. So, time to do some more cutting. Yee. I've also, in case you didn't notice here, I've got the frame supported. We're on jack stands in the back. And I've got jacks underneath the center of the frame. So that should have all the weight off of it. Actually, now that I think about it, I'll put a jack under the center of the differential too, so that weight isn't hanging on the frame also. Because what I don't want the frame to deflect as I'm making my cuts. I want it to stay nice and straight and true with no load on it. That way, it'll stay nice and straight. So, time to do some cutting. See you in a little bit. Well, everybody, I figured I'd take a minute and give you an update. So I got all my cutting and drilling done over here on this side of the frame. I've got my bracket fitting up that I'm happy with. Got my bolts through. The kit does come with these nice nylock nuts for it, and all 8.8 grade 8.8 bolts, which I think are sufficient for this purpose. And the thing is, I had to use the bolts to pull the bracket up, or the nuts throughout, pull the bracket up tight and finish drilling holes. So just as a little extra safety precaution, I'm gonna red Loctite all these nuts as I put them on, because I don't want any of these coming loose. The instructions do say that they want the bolts, the heads of the bolts inside with the threads out. So we're gonna do it that way and get this thing bolted together. And then I got to do the same process on the other side. It took a little bit of cutting and fitting to get it to a point that I'm happy with, but now I'm happy with it. So let's get this thing bolted down. Good. All tight. Get a rag, wipe off my excess Loctite, maybe give a quick wipe down, and then hit it with some spray paint. Woo! All right, team, I'm out of time for now. I'm going up to spend some time with the family, but this side is all painted, set. I'm happy with it. Bolts are all torqued. And once the paint is fully dried, I'll go ahead and put the bump stop on this side. I wound up having to do a good bit of grinding with the die grinder to make clearance for the actual C-notch. So on the other side, when I do this side, I think I'm gonna follow the outside of my lines just to give a little more space and make it easier to get lined up. Hopefully I won't have to do as much die grinding, but otherwise the process is the same. Cut it, fit it, bolt it, paint it. So I feel like that's a good spot to end this video. I'll pick back up later on this evening or tomorrow or somewhere down the way, but that's it for this one. Thanks a lot for watching, team. Happy with the progress we're making on this thing, and until the next video, take care.